Conference, it's a pleasure to address you this morning in my first speech to Labour Party conference, and what an honour it is to follow in the footsteps of someone who has been a fearless champion for consumers and for the environment in recent years, Caroline Flint. I start this job at a time when the stakes could not be higher. Energy is the backbone of our economy. How we source and fund our energy determines the jobs that we do, the lives we can afford to lead, and the success of our businesses. But it is also one of our greatest challenges. Affordable, reliable energy matters to working people here and across the world, but the pollution caused by our existing energy system poses one of the greatest risks to our health, our well-being, and our collective future. The transition to clean energy is one of the biggest challenges that this country has ever faced. It's comparable in scale to the Industrial Revolution. It requires the same shared determination and collective will to act that helped us to rebuild Britain after the war. And it demands that we draw on the creativity, the innovation and the talent that Britain has to offer. But conference, it also demands something else. It demands leadership. With our historic global ties, our dynamism, our expertise, it's a leadership that Britain is uniquely placed to offer. But instead, our ministers are failing our people at home and they're trashing our historical legacy of international leadership. Only this week, Al Gore said it is time for the UK government to honour and live up to that legacy and return to its global leadership position domestically and abroad. Conference, he's right. This is a British legacy and it's a Labour legacy too, and I am not prepared to let that go without a fight. Because it was John Prescott who, in his own unique way, banged heads together at Kyoto to create the world's first legally binding climate treaty. And conference, it was Ed Miliband who worked patiently through setback after setback to push for a new global climate change deal fit for the challenges that we now face. And now here we are at this critical moment in history where for the first time the world's largest economies are on the threshold of an agreement. The Paris summit in December can be historic. It can give an absolutely transformational signal to investors and businesses around the world that the age of polluting energy is over and that the transition to a new clean energy model is inevitable, irreversible, universal. Paris can build on Labour's Climate Change Act and return us to the negotiating table every 5 years, increasing our efforts until that job is done. Conference, we should be proud that the UK and its Labour government helped build us that road to Paris. But this part that we've played as a global force for higher ambition is in danger of becoming the story of our past and not the story of our future. Under David Cameron, Britain's influence abroad has diminished quicker than at any period in living memory. It's left us relegated to the margins of the global conversation while others set the agenda and the pace. His refusal to look outwards has undermined our ability to tackle shared global challenges, from climate change to the movement of refugees. It's cooperation, not isolation, that will allow us to shape and own the future. Conference, other nations are already investing in the future. In China, the government is taking bold steps to reduce dirty coal and invest in renewable energy because its billions of citizens urgently need an end to chronic air pollution. In India, the government is pioneering clean tech innovation, using solar energy to connect millions of people to light and power for the first time. George Osborne insists that our economic future lies in trade with these countries, and yet he's turned his back on our own wind and solar industries. But what if we could build a new clean energy system that would reduce our dependence on imported fuel, create the skilled, well-paid jobs we so badly need, and bring down sky-high energy bills? It would mean a dramatic change of course. The actions of this government have left the poorest households in Britain paying 6 times more of their disposable income on green taxes than the richest among us. This is a national scandal, but conference don't let them tell us that we can't heat our homes and protect the environment. Of course we can. By minimising the costs of going green, sharing those costs fairly and capturing the industrial benefits to improve the lives of working people. The guiding principle of our energy plan is the pursuit of social justice. It was only a few months ago that the Tory manifesto promised to cut carbon emissions as cheaply as possible. But what have they done instead? Ruled out using more of the cheapest low-carbon power available to us from wind farms, even where there is strong local support. They've pulled the rug out from under the British solar industry just at the moment that solar power is on the cusp of offering cheap, subsidy-free energy. And they've wasted billions on an energy efficiency plan that has failed to insulate the homes of our pensioners and our poorest families. And just this week, they've negotiated a deal that will leave us paying over the odds for decades to subsidise Chinese and French companies for a nuclear power station that is on course to be the most expensive ever built anywhere in the world. It's been estimated that it will cost bill payers more than the 2012 Olympic Games, Heathrow Terminal 2 and Crossrail combined. All of this less than 6 months since David Cameron promised he would keep bills as low as possible. Conference, the Tories' energy policy isn't just putting the security of household budgets at risk, but our economic security too. Our green economy has been outstripping the growth of the UK economy by a factor of more than 3 to 1. But just this month, the head of the CBI warned that from the rollback of renewables to the mixed messages on energy efficiency, these changes send a worrying signal about the UK as a place for low-carbon investment. Last month, we learned that for the first time ever, the UK no longer ranks amongst the top 10 countries in the world to invest in clean energy. This is a British industrial success story deliberately put at risk by a Chancellor pandering to his backbenchers even when skilled British jobs are on the line. Family security, energy security, and now economic security, and now we face an energy security crisis. This winter, British energy reserves will be at such low levels, we could be forced to buy in emergency supplies. Once again, families and businesses ripped off because of energy decisions beyond their control. Well, we want to put people back in charge. But Jeremy and I don't want to nationalise energy. We want to do something far more radical than that. We want to democratise it. There should be nothing to stop every community in this country owning its own clean energy power station. Across the country, schools are already taking the initiative and going solar, generating power and heat for their own use. With the right support, community-based energy companies and cooperatives could be a new powerhouse, building us a path to a more secure energy future. And you know, Labour in local government is already leading the way, effectively bypassing the big six entirely. Labour leaders in Nottingham have created their own city energy company to cut bills and go green. Oldham, spearheading collective switching schemes. Cardiff, rolling out cutting-edge smart technologies to cut demand because the cheapest power is the power that isn't used. Your new front bench team and I, Alan Whitehead, Barry Gardner, Clive Lewis, Harry Harpham, Bryony Worthington and John Grantchester, we are determined to work with other towns and cities to follow the lead that these trailblazers have already established. To work with our local government leaders to push for a clean energy boom in our great cities. Because our city and county regions can lead the world. They can point the way towards a safer, brighter, more secure future. To be that light on the hill for all of us who care about the cost of our energy, to our family budgets, our businesses and our environment. Conference, let's not wait for this government, because let's face it, we would be waiting forever. Let's seize the initiative and put power back into our own hands. The transformation of the way our world powers its economy, how we turn on every light, how we drive every car, how we heat our homes and keep our phones and computers running is already one of the great stories of human endeavour. We want it to be a story that people across Britain can be proud of. We want the names of British inventors and companies stamped on wind turbines, solar panels and electric cars. We want our people to own a stake in this future and be proud of the contribution they've made towards the safety and well-being of our planet and the health of our children. We want secure, affordable energy designed, built and owned by the people of our country, drawing on inspiration from around the world. Conference, at this historic moment, let's change the story the Tories are writing. Let's make this a Labour story, a British story of how we can be leaders and innovators and own the future. And most of all, let's tell it together. Thank you.